Thank you. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Phil Twyford.
Mr Speaker, this is a bad bill. National has corrupted the decision-making and resource allocation process for building new state highways. They're spending $1 billion a year on 7 hand-picked motorway projects. They have politicised the whole business of building state highways in this country, sir. And secondly, by pouring so much money into these white elephant motorway projects, they are locking this country into a high-carbon, fossil fuel-dependent transport future. In the process, they are neglecting public transport. They are neglecting the maintenance of our state highways and our local roads. They are doing this country a disservice. And, sir, those two qualities, the politicisation and corruption of our decision-making and resource allocation for building state highways, and their obsession with roads at the expense of every other part of our system, those are the two qualities that define this wasteful and mismanaged transport policy under this national government. This bill, sir, reflects that policy, and what it does is that it sets in concrete the wasteful and mismanaged approach that National has taken to transport. It sets up a gerrymandered decision-making process for new transport projects. It puts into concrete their obsession with roads at the expense of everything else, and it centralises more and more decision-making power in the Cabinet, away from communities and away from the public service. How does it do this? For a start, it gets rid of the existing purpose statement in the Land Transport Management Act. Currently, the Land Transport Management purpose is to contribute to the aim of achieving an affordable, safe, responsive and sustainable land transport system. Well, under this bill, that is gone. It is gone. And let's apply the holiday highway test to this provision in this bill. Is the holiday highway affordable? $1.7 billion for a duplicate route that at best will slice 5 to 10 minutes off the journey between Auckland and Wellsford. Is it safe? No, because a $400 million job would actually fix the accident black spots much more cheaply and much faster. Is it responsive? No, it is not responsive to our country's transport needs. Is it a sustainable transport solution? No, it certainly is not. It is an overpriced, gold-plated, duplicate motorway route. Okay, what else does it do? There are 5 transport objectives that also appear widely in the Land Transport Management Act. They are assisting economic development, assisting safety and personal security, improving access and mobility, protecting and promoting public health, and economic sustainability. 5 criteria that should be the guiding principles of our transport system. Under this bill, they are gone. They are gone by lunchtime. Let's apply the holiday highway test again. Does the holiday highway assist economic development? The Minister likes to say that it's going to solve all the economic problems of Northland. For $1.7 billion, you could buy a lot of high-quality economic development in Northland. Would the holiday highway assist safety and personal security? No. We've already talked about the fact that the Operation Lifesaver alternative for $400 million would solve the safety problems on that road. Does it protect and promote public health? No. Is it a model of economic sustainability? No, it is the opposite. So, sir, if the Act was used properly, these principles, these criteria would mean that projects that meet those criteria would be prioritised. But this government's approach, sir, is to make the land transport management legislation less sustainable, less economically viable, less concerned with the environment, with sustainability and with public health. The project-level decision-making criteria under this bill, sir, the criteria that we've been discussing are swept away, and they are replaced with 3 criteria that this government is using to drive its agenda of the roads of national significance. What are those criteria? First, to give effect to the government policy statement. All right, so if Jerry Brownlee says, yes, we're going to build the roads of national significance. He's got a tick in the first box. What's the second criteria? Effectiveness. Well, what's the definition of effectiveness? Will it deliver? Will it deliver on the strategic fit? So the second criteria is, will it deliver what Jerry Brownlee wants? Okay, 2 ticks in the first 2 boxes. The third criteria, sir, is efficiency, or the benefit-cost ratio. That minister doesn't even believe in the benefit-cost ratio. Because the other day in this House, he gave an entire speech to the House saying, actually, don't pay too much attention to the benefit-cost ratio because they're not very important. So the 3 criteria, what's the government's policy statement? Let's build the roads of national significance. What's the second criteria? How good is the project at delivering on the government's policy? And what's the third criteria? Benefit-cost ratio. The minister doesn't even believe in it. So the Puhoi to Wellsford Holiday Highway, it rates on the first 2 criteria very poorly, and on the third criteria, it's not even very good either. And yet it can still be funded. So this is how Jerry Brownlee and Stephen Joyce have totally gerrymandered the decision-making process for how they spend $1 billion a year of our taxes on white elephant motorway projects. That is what this bill is about, sir. It enshrines a circular and self-serving, politicised decision-making model for how we spend billions of dollars of taxpayers' money. Any pretence of rationality in the decision-making process has been dispensed with. Any expectation that our transport system, sir, will be integrated and multimodal has been done away with because under this bill, the references to rail and coastal shipping are being deleted from the purpose statement of the Land Transport Management Act. Sir, we have 2 other big objections to this bill. One is that it takes power away from local communities. Does that surprise anybody? This is the party, this is the government that killed democracy in Canterbury, and they don't give a damn about the democratic rights of communities. Look at the local government legislation that's before the House at the moment. It is all about taking power away from the elected representatives and local communities. So it should not surprise us that in this bill they abolish the mechanism that would allow communities to use a regional fuel tax that was introduced by the last Labor government to ensure that communities at least had the potential to raise money in their own communities and to exercise some autonomy about their transport priorities. And even though the current legislation keeps the power in the hands of the minister, that's not enough for him. They want to abolish it altogether, the right and the opportunity to institute a regional fuel tax. That provision, sir, is all about giving the 2-fingered salute to Auckland, because that minister's already said not only can they not have a regional fuel tax to fund their transport agenda, but he's already ruled out network charging, congestion charging. They don't want Auckland or any other community to have any autonomy in their transport priorities. The bill also reduces the obligation to consult communities, sir, on regional transport plans, but that's academic because under this government there's no money available to fund local transport projects anyway because he's spent it all on the roads of national significance. It's virtually impossible to fund a new state highway project in this country because there is no money left in the kitty. The third objection that we have to this bill, sir, is that it allows NZTA not just to borrow for cash flow smoothing as they can already do, but it allows them to borrow to increase the size of the transport budget. It makes toll roads easier to implement, and it also makes it easier to use public-private partnerships for big transport infrastructure projects. And while we on this side of the House are sceptical about whether PPPs can even deliver value for transport infrastructure projects, sir, we are not in principle opposed to any of those 3 mechanisms. But we are opposed to a transport policy that blows the budget on gold-plated, low-value projects and then comes back asking to use the credit card, sir. This is a bad bill it is entirely consistent with this government's wasteful and mismanaged transport policy, and Labor will not be supporting it.
I call David.